I grew up really being, in a way, bullied by the best, because a dictator is really nothing but the ultimate bully. I had to go to Nazi schools. That was, say you could have gone to another school, but there are no other schools. All schools were Nazified, as it's called, and they were, new books were printed, old books were burned, the famous book burnings. The only Nazi teachers were allowed to teach, and the Nazi ideology was taught, and it was all anti-Christian, anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, and of course it was pro-war and pro-strength and being strong and healthy, because that's the kind of empire Hitler was building. So here you could see that between me, very quickly, a clash or a wedge was driven between what I got at home, the values that I got at home, which were pacifist, anti-war, and were very Catholic, at a time when Hitler was both heavily persecuting Catholics, whom he did not want, and of course he was preparing for war, which certainly fell in the face of pacifism. One I will give you, one that we had to learn. We are Hitler's youth. We don't need any Christian truth. Hitler is our leader, and he is our redeemer. Can you imagine? You bring that home to a very devout Christian, Catholic, pacifist mother and see what's happening to her child. What could she say? Could she say, oh, I don't believe in that kind of baloney? No, she couldn't. She could say nothing, and that was the sadness of it, because if she had countermanded it or contradicted or said anything like what I said, she would have been shipped. My parents hadn't let me join the Hitler Youth, and once they found that out, they sent me away from my parents to what they call a re-education camp, because my parents were not educating me. I still ran away, but I didn't run away because I was abused. I ran away because I was homesick, really homesick. The brother looked at me, well, the family said, "You're not on a visit. You ran away. You are in real trouble now." And at that time, I guess my mother realized it too. I mean, they had taken me to camp. There was just no, all of a sudden I showed up. And she always had big aprons on, and she flipped her apron over her face, which I knew meant that she was crying. And I can go and hide and stay in the air raid shelter that my dad has built next to the basement, and nobody will know. And that's what I did, and that's where I stayed. You followed the orders, you did what you were told. I survived, so there is hope. It gets better, it got better. Maybe it took the Allied forces, the American soldiers, to liberate us, and it took a lot of lives to have a war. But there was certainly one family, my family and me, that started breathing freely again when the Americans burst into our basement shelter, guns pointing at us. I still see it, four guys bursting in and asking, "Soldaten, are there soldiers here? Pistolen, are there weapons here? Hände hoch, get your hands up." And that was my personal liberation. And that from that time, it certainly, the Nazification had stopped, and maybe a new democratic kind of, humanistic kind of life could develop after the big bullies, were gone. kind of like, how does it feel when somebody stops bullying? It feels 100% better. I mean, democracy is a much better system. We may be sometimes annoyed with it, how slowly it moves, but it does eventually get better. Society progresses a little bit, and it does get better. Laws are passed. People gain insight with time. I can also say I had to work on it to get that things get better. I got a Fulbright scholarship, which was everything paid except, getting here. To go and nourish yourself by going to theaters, by going to comedy clubs. Humor is a wonderful thing against bullying. It makes you free, and it makes you open, and you can handle things better when you see in other media, like theater, like the arts, like going to the museum. You will see pictures that can relate to your life, and that makes it maybe not in general get better. Society will not easily change, but it gets better for you. I taught at Butler for 8 years, and I taught at Brebeuf Preparatory for 25 years. If we are being bullied, and I was bullied by the best bullies there are, it does go away. It does get better, and reach out to not only people, but also to the arts and society around you to make it get better for you.